I'm convinced that 98% of all people between the age of 16 to 30 which have depression aren't really depressed. They just feel depressed, which means they can be cured without therapy and without antidepressant. And today I will show you how I cured myself of depression to give you an example of how it's done. Between 2023 and 2024, till the end of 2024, I had periods where I felt depressed. For 1 to up to 3 months at a time, I felt depressed. After this time, I felt better for a few weeks, and then I fell back into this depression state, which lasted again for 1 to 3 months. And this from mid-2023 till end of 2024. During this depression period, I felt overwhelmed with my life. Literally, I had no energy, I had no motivation. Most of my time I just spent in my bed, lying in bed and for 14 hours, almost every day, and just spending my time on my phone, watching YouTube, watching Netflix, watching anime, scrolling on social media, playing video game felt too hard, or brushing my teeth, showering, basic things felt too hard. I felt like unable to do those things. They felt like a chore. Literally, I felt most of the time unable to do those basic things. They felt just too hard. Everything just felt too hard for me. I also was flooded with negative thoughts, with really dark thoughts. It was weird. I experienced these dark thoughts, but I felt also numbed. Like, it's hard to describe. I had these negative thoughts in my mind, which kept me up many nights, but also I felt numbed. Like, the world felt indifferent to me. Like, it felt meaningless. It's hard to describe. I still felt negative, but also at the same time I felt numbed in a way. It's hard to describe. If you experienced yourself, you will know what I mean, but if you don't, it's kind of hard to know how this feels. And then of course I felt lonely, and I felt like shit. And this for months at a time, for almost 1.5 years. I felt this for months, then sometimes I felt better, and then again for months again. At the end of 2024, I was so fed up with always feeling so depressed, with always falling back into this depression state. I had enough. I literally, I couldn't live like this anymore. Something needed to change. Life like this was unbearable. So at the end of 2024, when I entered a period where I felt a little bit better, I analyzed it, why I felt always this depression. Because I didn't really believe that I had depression. I didn't want to accept that I had depression, because if I would, I felt not in control. I was just, how should I describe this? It's like when I accepted that I would have depression, it was like I wasn't able to control it. If I just said to myself, alright, you have depression and you now need to live with that, or you just go to a therapist and they help you, I wasn't in control. And I hated that. I want to be able to solve my problems. And if I'm not able to solve this big problem, this big issue, I feel worse than ever. I couldn't accept it. I basically looked deeper than depression. I penetrated depression and looked at root causes why I have depression. I said to myself that depression is just a symptom of my unhappiness and my dissatisfaction in different areas or in specific areas of my life. This was a statement, this was my thesis of depression. With that, I was then able to control it, because if I would find these root causes, I could fix it, and then I wouldn't fall back into this depression state, which I didn't want to fall back into. It was, to illustrate this, you can imagine it like fever. Fever is also a symptom of a root problem. This root problem is that you have bacteria or you have a bad infection and your body needs to elevate its heat so it can kill off those things. And with that, the fever is just a symptom of the bad bacteria. And depression works the same. At least that's what I think. Which is just, depression is a symptom at the surface and you need to find and dig deeper to find root causes and root problems. So that's what I tried to do. I did this by starting to analyze how I felt. First, I was unable to do anything. Like I said, playing video games, showering, brushing my teeth. Just the basic, essential things that if you just look at it without any emotion, if you look at it neutral, those things aren't hard. But I felt unable to do those things. And I asked myself why I was unable to do those things. Now, after some digging, after some long thinking and some deep thinking, I came to a conclusion. This conclusion is, I looked at what I was doing. For most of my time, when I wasn't just lying in bed and sleeping, I was just on my phone, indulging in Netflix, in Disney Plus, in watching anime, in scrolling short form content. What do those things have all in common? They release a ton of dopamine. And they release basically too much dopamine. They release bad dopamine. What I mean by bad dopamine is there is healthy dopamine and then there is bad dopamine. For example, if you read a book, there is still dopamine that is released, but it's just lower stimulation and lower amounts of dopamine and for a longer period of time. With those things that I just listed before, it was more like you have a peak of dopamine and then it plummets quite fast. The problem is, you need to imagine that there is a kind of a baseline. This baseline indicates if something crosses this baseline, you have the positive effects of dopamine. You feel motivated to do those things. You have this positive feeling that comes when dopamine is released. When you scroll and the things I listed, you pass this baseline, but then the problematic thing is you plummet far below the starting position. Now, if you just do this once, then this isn't that bad, because after some time, dopamine will start to increase again and it will be back at the baseline. But if you do this the same as I did for hour upon hour, for months straight, after some time, you are so far below the baseline that the basic things like showering, brushing teeth, and playing video games don't even cross this baseline. The only thing that crosses this baseline is basically the things that fucked it up in the first place, like scrolling. And because of that, the only thing I really could do was just scrolling, because this crosses this baseline. It was the only thing that was able to cross this baseline. Now, the reason why this is bad is because there was a study. There was this rat, and the scientists blocked or cut out the dopamine receptor of this rat. What they then observed is they could put food in front of this rat, a few inches, a few centimeters, and the rat wouldn't even go these few steps to eat because the dopamine receptors were cut or were blocked. And because dopamine is so essential for us to do literally anything, this rat didn't even did the basic things like eating food. And the same was with me. I didn't do the basic things because they were too hard, because my dopamine receptors were fried. I became this rat. I became this rat which wasn't able to do the basic things. This was my first conclusion. I was unable to do things because my dopamine receptors were fucked. Then I observed another thing. Why did I felt negative, and why did I felt also numbed? I also did some digging, some thinking, and I observed what I was doing during my depression period. What I realized is I was overstimulating myself, especially with short form content. And what I mean by overstimulating myself is I was overstimulating my emotion. Because when I was scrolling, let's say I open TikTok, I watch a video. This first video makes me feel happy. Then I scroll and this video makes me feel motivated. Then another video and it makes me happy again. Another video and it makes me jealous. Then another video and it makes me angry. Then one video makes me envious. Then another video makes me pleasant again and happy and satisfied, and so on. Every video that I watched, a different kind of emotion was released and I experienced a different kind of emotion. Of course, not on the surface level. I didn't laugh out loud or shout at my screen, but unconscious. On the unconscious level, I experienced every emotion. And because I watched for 4 hours straight, so many different emotions came flooded into my mind. And with that, my mind was overloaded. It basically needed to shut down and said, no, we need to stop. It's too many emotions. And this is why I felt numbed, because too many emotions came flooded in and my mind was overloaded and it couldn't experience emotions. So it was like, fuck it, we need to shut down this thing. Another thing why I experienced or I still had negative thoughts was the negative emotions that I experienced so much more strongly than the positive. Of course, I, let's say, watched 100 videos and only 2 were negative. The problematic thing is, those 2 I experienced so much more strongly than all the 98 combined. The reason is because when we were hunter-gatherers, we needed to perceive negative emotion so much more stronger than positive emotions. The reason was because when an other tribe would attack us, we need to act at the instant and we need to experience this fear and this negative emotion so fast so we could react, so we could defend ourselves, so we could survive. We aren't hunter-gatherers anymore. We don't need to experience negative emotion more strongly so we can defend ourselves against a tribe. But our body and our mind didn't really change that much. We still experience the negative emotion stronger than positive. And now with social media, this fucks us, or this fucked me, because I experienced those negative emotions so strongly that my mind was flooded with these negative thoughts, because I experienced those emotions so much stronger. So this was another reason. I felt lonely, and this was quite self-explanatory. I had a lack of social interaction. And I'm a person who actually likes social interaction. I gain energy, I'm an extrovert. So when I talk to new people and when I with people that I like, I gain energy and I'm energetic. Of course, when I talk to people that I despise and I don't want to hang around, they fucking drain me. But I'm more on the extroverted side. So of course, when I have a lack of social interaction, I feel lonely. And of course, there is also a scientific aspect. If I don't have social interaction, and especially if I don't have social touching, which then releases serotonin, which then makes you feel better, which then prevents you from feeling lonely. If I don't have that, I feel lonely because I don't have social interaction. Another thing that I experienced was I was overwhelmed with my life. Literally, I felt overwhelmed with my life. The reason was because I had no clue what to do with my life. I had no purpose, I had no aim. I was just aimless and life just pushed me and I was just, basically I was in the backseat of a car and no one was driving the car and it was just rolling down the street. Or it was like I was in a ship in the middle of the ocean with no navigation, with no idea where land was. So the ocean and the waves just pushed me around. And with that I felt overwhelmed. This was my life because life just pushed me around because I had no purpose and I wasn't growing. And the last thing, I felt just shitty overall. Why? Because my health was bad. I had bad sleep because sometimes I would stay up too late and then I would sleep for 14 hours, which isn't healthy. And then I ate shitty food and I didn't train and I didn't go into nature because I spent most of the time just inside. I had now all of those causes why I felt bad, why I felt shitty, why I felt lonely, why I felt negative and so on. I then combined it and made it more tangible. And I created my 4 pillars of depression. Those 4 pillars are the main root cause why I feel depressed. They are the cause why I have the symptom of depression. The 4 pillars are health, purpose, overstimulation and social. If I fix all of those 4 pillars and improve myself in all of those pillars, I don't feel depressed anymore. So I did that. I was overwhelmed because I now had 4 pillars that I could manage and could improve to stop feeling depressed. But like I said in the beginning, showering, brushing my teeth, playing video games felt too hard. So how should I be able to improve my health? How should I be able to find purpose? How should I be able to stop my overstimulation? I simply couldn't. So I needed to do something, basically give myself a boost, give myself a motivation, so I was then able to fix those things. And I came up with a Boost habit tracker. It's a 2-week habit tracker that I did so I could boost and give myself a boost in mental health, in motivation and so on. And this habit tracker is very simple. I only needed to do 4 basic habits, which were reading, meditation, gratitude journaling and exercise. Now, why those 4 habits? Because I saw it on YouTube and they fucking work. The habit tracker works like this. You do those 4 habits every day for 1 intentional second or for 1 intentional sentence. For reading, you read 1 sentence and then you can check it off. For meditation, you do 1 intentional breath and you can check it off. For exercise, you can do 1 push-up or you can do 1 pull-up and then you can check it off. For gratitude journaling, you can do 1 word and you can check it off. Now, you may think, if I just do this, I won't read a book, I won't get big, I won't improve my focus. But that's not the point. You just need to gain momentum and you need to gain positive momentum with doing those basic things. Because at the first day, you do this for 1 second each. Then maybe on the second day, you do 2 push-ups, you read 2 sentences, you meditate for 3 seconds, and so on. Then on the 5th day, you do 10 push-ups, you read a page, you meditate for 2 minutes, and so on. And then on 14 days, after 2 weeks, you read for 10 minutes. You can do a half of a workout. You can meditate for 5 minutes, and so on. You push yourself out with positive momentum, and you then improve your mental health with that as well. And then you can now focus on the 4 pillars. I focused on the 4 pillars after I've created this positive momentum with my Boost habit tracker. But then again, I was overwhelmed because I had 4 options and I didn't know what to choose. So I chose what seemed hardest. Or to reframe that, I choose what I found would improve my life the most. Because for me, I wasn't bad with social interactions. I'm quite good in social interaction. I can talk to people, I can have a conversation, and so on. So social interaction wasn't the problem. It was just I needed to go out more because that was the problem. But this wasn't really that big of a deal. My biggest problem was my overstimulation, because I spent 8 hours to up to 11 hours just on my phone overstimulating myself. And with that, every other pillar suffered. So I focused on fixing overstimulation. How did I do this? I just list out everything that was overstimulating. My food, I ate shitty food, which was overstimulating. I watched a ton of Netflix, Disney Plus, Prime TV and anime. Then I spent tons of time on short form content and then playing video games. All of those combined were the reasons why I was overstimulated. So I cut it out, like that. Now the problem was that I realized this, I just couldn't just cut it out and then with discipline and with motivation focus on other things. No. If I just cut it out and don't replace it with something else, I would just fall back into doing those overstimulation habits. So I need to replace those bad habits, those overstimulating habits, with habits that were more beneficial to me. So the first thing is I replaced scrolling with reading, which meant instead of scrolling before going to bed, I started to read. Instead of going to the toilet and being on my phone scrolling, I just went to the toilet. Instead of eating food and watching a video, I just focused on eating. And still I had time that I needed to fill so I wouldn't overstimulate myself. This time I filled with things that were beneficial for my other habits. For social, I started to improve my family, or my family life, my family interaction. And now we have such an amazing bond. Then I started to hang out more with friends, go on more adventure, go on more hikes, go on more things that gave me joy, where I meet new people so I could improve my social. Then for purpose, I started to basically sit in silence for 15 to 30 minutes every day, which is uncomfortable, but it is essential because first you are flooded in with negative emotions. But this is essential because you need to process these negative emotions and all of those experiences that I had from overstimulation. I needed to just basically process those things. And after some weeks, I then stumbled across some new thoughts about meaning, about purpose, that ask me, why am I doing this? Why did I when studying? Why did I choose that career? What's the point of my life? And so on. And with those deep thoughts, deep questions, I stumbled across my purpose, which was helping other people. But I didn't know how. So after more digging, I stumbled across I like mental health, or I'm interested in mental health. I'm interested in psychology. I'm interested in self-improvement. I'm interested in helping other people. So I want to help people with their mental health. And then after some more digging and some more just thinking, I stumble across I want to help people with mental health online. So that's why I do this. So I stumble across my purpose, which is also a pillar. Then I started to exercise more, so I can grow, so I can improve my health. I started to improve my sleep. I started to learn how to play the piano, so just give me more sense of growing. I started to go more on an adventure. I started to live my life more. And with that, my overall mental health improved tremendously. My mood spiked. And with that, all of my 4 pillars spiked and improved. And then, guess what? Since I started doing that, I've never felt into this depression state. Of course, I still sometimes feel down, but everyone does. If you feel happy 24/7, then you are fake. No one is happy 24/7. You still have doubt sometimes. You still have days where you feel not motivated, where you feel sluggish, where just life hits you because something terrible happens. But I don't fall into this depression state where for months I feel bad. Now, most of my time, I feel positive. I can finally do things that I always wanted to do. Work on something purposeful, improve my body, do something with my friends, and go on the adventure, experience life. Because life is hard. Life is sometimes unbearable. But life is also beautiful. It's joyful. And now I see more of those things. I see more of the joyful things. And I love my life. And of course, I could go into more detail on how I actually fixed all of those 4 pillars, but the video is already too long and most of the people don't even watch this far. So if you watch this far, thanks for watching. I appreciate you a lot and I hope that you learned something for your own mental health. If you struggle with mental health and if you have mental health problems, I can help you. If you click the first link in the description, you can have access to me for free. In there, I will help you by listening to your mental health problems, then finding out your root causes and your root problem, so then you can make tangible process and have tangible advice so you can actually make progress in your mental health and with that make progress in your life. So your life finally becomes more enjoyable, so you stop feeling depressed and so on. If this sounds interesting to you, then click the first link in the description and I will help you there for free. You may ask why for free? The simple truth is I want to gain more experience. I want to be an expert in helping other people improve their mental health. To do so, I want to gain as many experience as possible. And in the beginning, I want to do this by having as much volume as possible. So that's why it's for free with no strings attached, no upsell, nothing. On that note, I wish you a wonderful day, take care and then get after it.